here we are in the kitchen, and I have some wax melted already, and I'm just dropping another block in and melting it real slow. I want to talk about what I like to use to filter the wax. Right here you can see that I have an ice cream bucket, and I've taken the lid and I've cut a circle out from the center of the lid. You see that? And behind it you have some sort of scoop. You can use a ladle or something. This is just what I'm using today. Normally it would probably be a stainless steel ladle, but this is what I had available today. And these blue shop towels. I like to take one of these blue shop towels and I'll just put the lid around the top of the shop towel, and I'll push down just a little bit because I want to create a small divot. I want the wax to be able to go down a little bit, so I'm just kind of loosening the side a little bit, getting that just like so. So I have something like this. This is what I'm going to use to pour my wax through, and this will work as a very good filter. Another thing that I like to do is taking a toothpick or something like that. I want to come up under the edge right here on the inside, and I want to make like a couple holes. What those holes will do is they'll let the air come out from underneath so it doesn't create a vacuum and stalemate itself. So now when the wax gets up to a certain temperature where it's liquid enough, I'll slowly take a little bits of wax and I'll put it right through the filter, just like this. You can see, you can hear it, that it's already starting to filter. Now I probably need something to set this on. So nice little paper plate back there in the back to set that on. Everything's nice and clean. So that's the process that I'm going to be doing for the next quite a bit of time to filter all of this wax. Just pouring it on through. So if there was any dog hair or dirt or anything like that in the wax from outside, you know, cutting it, it's not that big of a deal, because this shop towel will definitely hold that stuff back. Now you're probably wondering, how long do I go, you know, on this filtration? Because obviously there's a point where this bucket will get full. Well, I go up however high I want the thickness of my ingot, if you will, to be. So if I want to go up about an inch and then get another bucket and keep filtering, then it won't be so hard to break up and manage, because I still am going to pour this wax into ingots before it's all said and done. Wax ingots. So this is the filtering process. Not that big of a deal. Pretty simple. The temperature of the wax is not super hot or anything like that. It's just hot enough for it to be a liquid. You can see that the thickness down here below is starting to get to where we're wanting. And if I don't want to stop at an inch, and say for example I want to go all the way through as make this thing full, you can certainly do that too. It's just easier to cut it when it's about an inch thick. And here's a view of the process just from a different angle. It's not that big of a deal, folks. Pretty simple. And then when you need another break, just set your ladle down, put it right in the pot. You want to make sure that you're not dropping it all over the floor like I just did, because then you're stepping on it and tracking it all through the house. You can see that some of the stuff is full of dirt and dog hair and stuff. That's okay. Put it right in the pot. this will catch it. So I'm going to bump up the temperature a little bit to help melt this down. We'll see you in a few. You don't want to get this wax too hot. We're not cooking the wax, we're just melting it. There's a view of some of the wax melting. This is about the temperature you want. Get it melting slow. Nothing too crazy. See all the dog hair and stuff. See it on there? Not that big of a deal though. As we filter, if you notice, if the wax is starting to get cold or not warm enough, your filter will start to look like this. So when that happens, you need to warm the wax up a little hotter so that it'll melt this, because it's actually starting to solidify. You want it warm enough to keep going through the filter. Not too hot, but not too cold. There's a fine balance in the temperature that the wax needs to be. Okay folks, temporarily I kicked up the heat to high. Just doing this to get the wax hot again so that I can render it through this filter and get this filter back alive, because the filter's kind of dying down on me and I need this hot wax to melt that stuff down. You can see that this wax has dog hair and all kinds of stuff in it. I just need to bring that filter back to life, so putting some good hot wax in there will do that. You can see that the wax over here is slowly smoking, and we need to make sure that we have good ventilation. Okay, if you're starting to get a little smoky, put a fan out the back door and get that smoke out of the room. Another thing that I want to mention while I'm thinking about it is you don't want the temperature of the wax too hot, otherwise you'll melt the plastic container. Let's not forget that we're using plastic as our container. Okay, we don't want to forget that. This wax, you want to kind of check your container and make sure it's holding up, and if it is, you're doing good. But if, you know, just be aware that you don't want it too hot to melt your container. I know it's silly that I have to say that, but believe it or not though folks, there's people out there that don't think like that. So I'm here to tell you those things. You don't want the wax to be super hot. You can see that I poked some tiny little holes around, and that was to help get the wax going a little quicker, but still not stopping the filtration. You can see in here that there's all kinds of little dog hair and dirt and stuff that's caught in this filter, and once that clears the filter, I'm going to put a new filter on, because this one's about done. It's collected quite a bit. Time to put 2 more big chunks in. Keep melting down. I just saw 2 bees flying around in my kitchen here, and they think they found a new beehive, I guess. So I'm just going to let that render down. This is a very slow process, folks. Filtering this wax takes a lot of time and a lot of patience. But it's fun. You know, my stove is on about medium heat. Right there, that right one right there. That's the temperature that my stove's on. And that seems to be doing pretty good. I'm just putting some tiny holes to help let that seep through. You can see that it collected a lot of garbage, and that's good enough for me. After all, remember, I had 11.5 pounds of wax, so I'm not hurting for like a little tiny piece. So looking down inside, you can see the wax inside there is very clean, beautiful color, and that's how I like to filter my wax, folks.